Good evening then, ladies and gentlemen across the world. Welcome aboard to WOR and the Legacy Division. It's our final round of WOR Legacy Division here in Season 7. Tonight we are crowning a champion. It is myself, James Ottajotto, alongside Adam Roberts for your season finisher here at Brazil. We're in there for our sprint race to start off with here. Very quickly then on this one then, Boberts, we're crowning a champion tonight. It's likely to be SCI, but there's so many permutations up and down the field.
There certainly is, and just going off last week, what's to say that AMR cannot pull off a shocker and do the unmissable comeback, as it were, considering how they've been the last two rounds. They've been phenomenal, but they've got one more job to try and get it done to see if they can reduce their gap and overtake SCI. But they're going to have a lot of things have to go their way. So SCI have just got to keep it cool, keep their heads down, and just keep it clean. That's what it comes down to. But again, we've also got a big battle for third overall and for that final automatic spot. But as we go into sprint qualifying here, like you said, here in Brazil.
Yeah, we certainly are as well. As I'm just going to keep a very firm eye on your WOR as well. It's the RSC, man. It's a very difficult scenario for them going into this one. We'll talk more about that one in just a second. In fact, let's go with Boberts, actually, as he heads his way now through into turn number 4. Your WOR will be following on board with us. We've just lost AGK.
We have indeed, actually, and he's not the only one to be validated. So was Adrian, actually, literally through the first few corners through the centre S's. So unfortunate for them, but we still keep going. It's now Snack who's taking the lead, as I was also on board with the WOR at the same time, going into the road to turn 7 now through turn 8. The hairpin of turn 9 in this middle set. I mean, it's just such a nothing middle set to this. Just got to make sure you keep the car clean. Traction is so key as WOR outbreaks himself and locks up into Pico de Pato down the hill through Maguglia. Polymas has left the session again in through John Star, which is technically turn 12 and the last proper corner, even though we've still got 3 more corners here as we climb up the hill and towards the start finish line. WOR has done really well here. He was P3 down to P4. Alex Luffer goes ahead of him. Is Snack going to stay on pole position? No, he's not. He's been overtaken by Justin. And by 26 1,000ths of a second, it is last week's winner at Silverstone. It is Justin who takes the sprint pole here for one-shot qualifying. But what was a very tight, congested field, but a number of drivers did not set lap times. In the end, it was a grand total of 3, in fact.
Yeah, very unusual set of circumstances here. At the moment, as FRT have found some significant pace. SCI Snack managing to get into P2. Alex Loffer in 3rd with the WOR in 4th. Ray Wintz in 5th from Valakong and Jaden Esco. Leon and Brando rounding out the top 10. Dom is in P11 in the end for not for fastest stage 2, of course, switching over to BRC in the end in that one. Ivan Eskrig, Matt, Johan, Lucas, Mateo down in P16. Big shocker for ET8 with Guy Tance in 17. Polymasi, AGK and Adrian yet did not set a lap time in that one then. So, situation report then, the drivers here tonight. This is a big mishap here for RSC here tonight. Enzo and AGK, qualifying ban for Enzo, 5-place grid penalty for RSC. They're fighting for that final automatic qualifying spot, P3 overall, and that's not going to help them.
Nope, certainly is not. I mean, they do have an 18-point gap over VNT, who are currently in 4th, but then only 2 points back is ET8, and then a further 8 points is FRT. So 28 points separating 4 teams fighting for that 3rd qualifying spot, which they're all going to be going for. So expect a few fireworks from there. But tell you what, AMR, I mean, yeah, they have one driver in the top 3 being obviously with Alex Loffer, but even Escry down in P12, and at least it's only the sprint, but that's not where we were wanted, considering, Stack in P2 and Volokong in P6, SCI with a decent qualifying for the sprint race. So even Escry has a lot of work to do after, these two got promoted last week to P2 and P3 after that, well, let's say aggressive defending from FRT, which, was a 1-2 finish over the line, ended up being a 1st and 4th after inquiries, but they got the win in the end. But yeah, AMR did benefit still from the inquiries, gained a few more points. They reduced their gap a bit, Jota.
Yeah, 530 for the SCI team, then 471 for AMR, and 380, 362, 360, and 352 for the teams between 3rd and 6th place. So any of these teams can still automatically qualify with a great result here tonight. Of course, they've got the sprint race and the main race, and of course, FRT throwing everything they can with Justin getting pole position in the sprint race here should offer a great opportunity for them. Though keep an eye on RSC, could tumble down the standings standings here if the qualifying situation for them falls under. ET8, of course, wanting to automatically qualify for the third year running do ET8, but of course they were runners-up for the last couple of rounds, a couple of seasons, so they want to make sure that they at least automatically qualify. Otherwise, they're going through the depths of having to qualify once again, and Ventauri are looking to do the opposite of what they did last time out, of course, missing out on automatic qualifying from FRT last season. Now they're hoping to nick it off RSC if they can help it. That's the situation for the world standings. Then moving on into this final race event, then this is where it's all sort of make or break, really, isn't it? Now we've got the main race at just a few short moments time. Polymassive manages to reconnect to the session very candidly, is quite helpful, but with the sprint race ahead of us, especially for RSC, this is a big one. They need to turn out big points here, and one of them, invalidating, is the worst possible scenario, is Polymassive disconnecting again.
Indeed, so not good for BRC, considering they're hosting this as well, that their second driver is unable to stay connected. Not really good there. At least with Yorpwap's sake, he did get a good qualifying in P4, so hopefully can convert that into, you know, at least maintain P5, if not maybe, you know, move up a few positions if he can. But he's got to get ahead, obviously, you know, the likes of Snack, obviously, for example, Justin the Pole Sitter and Alex Loffer as well. But then you've got, you know, Ray Winter behind for VNT, who'll be going for it as well. His teammate in P9, so not a bad qualifying from VNT, but obviously only the top 8. Score points here in the sprint race. 12 laps here around the Interlagos circuit, and I'll be honest, Jota, it's definitely up there. Not as just as a track overall, as well as a legendary track in since we've been here. I think it's since the early 90s. I want to say 91, 92.
Yeah, it's been here for a significant amount of time, hasn't it? And these drivers will be hoping that they can convert it and make more history at a circuit with so much history surrounding around it. I think one thing I'm conscious about, to be fair, is these drivers are going to be very keen to get going with this sprint race. And now we're getting going then. So it's a sprint in Brazil, and Justin does get that decent start up against Snack with Alex Loffer looking to go around the outside here. Important for AMR that they're battling with the likes of SCI. Snack giving him the space, to be fair. He's thinking about that championship. Alex Loffer manages to get in front. Uppbeat under a little bit of pressure from Ray Wince, though. Keep an eye out on that Williams as well. It's important for FRT. That they continue on that performance here, but keep an eye out on the Williams outfit, who might be continuing to put the pressure on the likes of the FRT boys, but keep a very, very firm eye at the situation at the moment in the midfield. ETA really harvesting problems here at the moment in 14th and 15th place respectively. Big dive then from Ray Wincer and Uppbeat. Since that pressure was starting to build, it's come ahead. They continue racing side by side. Do the pair of them in the end. Uppbeat on RSC managing to hold off.
Certainly does. In fact, Brando got shoved out wide at turn 4 and he's lost 4 places as a result of it. It's all happening in the midfield. And like I said, the ETA boys certainly not getting the best hand of it. We're still too wide here. That's towards the back of the field. That's between, I think, Adrian trying to get moved on through John Sow on the inside of the Haas there. He gets the move done. That's him up to P16. For the time being. Out in front, Justin still leads the way and on medium tyres, and he's got a full train of cars on the soft compound in behind him, but he managed to hold the lead, so fair play to him for doing that. Snack obviously has a championship to sort of defend, you could say. He's not going to get into any permutations, no. He's not going to go for something stupid, let's put it that way, because he knows that they just have to do what they need to do, just score the points that they need to, and then they should be fine. Ray Wince trying to look down the inside there into turn 4, a bit of fake move on the inside into Decido Lago, but in the end, Baxalve goes back onto the racing line as Lucas goes into P10. I have Leon, who's not had a good start for BNT's sake.
Yeah, we've got some really, really intense battling here for P14 at the moment between Ivan Eskrig and Mateo. Around the outside, he's going to have to go, surely. He's going to have to give that position right back up as Mateo. He definitely went off of the circuit here, and Ivan Eskrig is voicing his concern about that one, but Mateo holds onto position anyway. Here's Adrian, the FRT man, wants to try and get some big points here for FRT. Colliding into the back of Ivan Eskrig could pose a bit of a problem. We've got some kind of debris on circuit here, and I think it might be, and it is, AGK is missing an end plate on the right-hand side, and RSC's sprint race, going from bad to worse as AGK really didn't need that wing damage. They needed to earn the big points here, RSC, with them serving the massive qualifying ban as Polymassy is just trundling around the circuit. Justin still leading the way.
Indeed, yeah, he's not the only one. He's AGK. Gaitans as well behind him also has an end plate missing on the same side as well. So they then come to blows with each other or with another driver. In fact, actually, the second Haas of Johan as well has also got an end plate missing, but on the left-hand side. And you know, as I'm just going through the field checking all the wings, at least that seems to be it for the time being. But yeah, Alex Loffer still in behind Justin. He actually gave him a little tap going through the center S's as Dom there trying to hold off Jaden there. That is for P7 and P8, the final couple of points there in this sprint format. Lap 3 already though, Jota, out of 12. This is going to fly by. We know it's a short circuit. The driver's setting just, you know, around about those 1 minute 10 second lap times. But pit stops is going to be the key thing here. When do they go in? Obviously, softs versus mediums. So what does Justin do, being in the race lead?
Yeah, of course, Justin leading on the medium tyre. Of course, in the sprint races in WR Legacy Division, if you aren't caught up, you have to commit to a pit stop in the sprint race. So it's all about picking what tyre choice you want. You can do double stints if you'd like. So you could do a double soft if you wanted to, but soft to medium is what is going to be expected, or medium to soft is what's going to be expected, as we see our soft tyre runners already in. We see the likes of Ray Wintz, Volakonga, and they're in alongside Dom, Lucas, Matt, Adrian, AGK, and Guy Tance, all deciding to pit off of the media, off the soft, and go to a medium. I think advantage then surely falling in favour of the FRT driver at the front of the field at the moment. He's on a harder compound of tyre and is able to hold back soft tyre runners easily.
It certainly is actually, and even though we do have that, obviously, that one step harder compound difference, it's just, yeah, Justin's not really under any threat whatsoever unless, you know, Alex is just saving that battery perhaps for a charge maybe later in this sprint format. We'll have to wait and see, but it's going to be a case of, you know, with the likes of Volakongan and Ray Wintz, who were obviously P5 and P6, where did he come out regarding an undercut aspect here? Undercut is not too shabby around here. It's not the most powerful, but it's neither, you know, one where you're not going to gain much time at all either, you know, so they could gain a position or two out of this to, you know, the likes of Yopwop and Snack maybe as well in P3, so it'll be interesting to see where they come out. But it's a case of, yeah, what do the rest of the front runners do? And indeed, they all do go into the pits. Even Justin off his mediums got in the pit as Alex Loffer actually tapped the back of Justin there. I don't know if that gave him that 10-second penalty speeding into the pit lane, but there was a little bit of contact, so interesting to see if that's what put him over the pit lane speed limiter.
Interesting. That is not helpful. We were on board with Justin, but we didn't see the collision, unfortunately. But if that is the situation, surely there's going to be a conversation about whether or not that should sort of continue to exist as in terms of a penalty, because yeah, very disappointing to say the least. Here goes Ray Wintz actually side by side with FRT's Justin here, trying to get the undercut, working an absolute treat on the medium tyres, but in the end Justin able to hold off Volakonga and also getting the jump on, guess who, Alex Loffer. So of course in that situation here, we may have a bit of a problem with AMR getting a time penalty for causing that little bit of a challenge, but Justin's penalty might end up being rescinded. So let's keep little eyes on that one. As you up very wide at the top of what's it out there through Ferradura, wasn't it? So he's just trying to get side by side with Dom, but gets the move done here. I tell you what, the McLaren's looking for a gap that wasn't there, but I tell you what, he's forced the door open, and Uopop still got a battle with him at the moment here, is the FST man, as we've got people pitting in front here, but it looks like Uopop has managed to get the jump. Switch back from the McLaren. Is the McLaren going to get any shift on, though, I wonder? I don't think so. Keep an eye on IRT here. You've got Jaden trying to get as close as he possibly can, down to the outside here of the final corner, then going through turn number 14 and 15 as he gets the move done, does Jaden. Dom is going to go for the late breaker surely to try and defend. Big locks up happening around the field here as the McLaren is doing everything he possibly can. The BRC man is throwing absolutely everything and then some at the moment to try to defend this one. He's lost it to Uopop, but he's now lost a couple of positions of defending, both to the IRT men. Lucas and Jaden managing to get in front of the BRC man just as a concede who has been outraced there.
He certainly has been. I don't know if that started by, like I said, you know, Yorpop did go wide at Ferradura, and technically he was alongside him, and he should have maybe just given the, you know, a full car length to the McLaren. But Dom now come under threat from Esco in behind him, and there we go. The Aston Martin now goes ahead, so Dom has dropped, you know, 3-4 places in the space of a lap now. Not exactly what BRC needed, and yeah, to their, well, yeah, they are unfortunately P10 in the standings and may not improve on that, but still they would like to pick up some points if they can. And yeah, they're man for the job. Dom is unfortunately going in the wrong direction, but yeah, certainly the undercuts certainly proved very powerful there. But look at this, Justin on those one lap fresher tyres, even though the gap is under a second, the detection point was over a second, he's broken the DRS to Ray Wintz, and this might now start a chain effect with these drivers now. You know, may not be able to get it back again. Ray Wintz is going to use every bit and more to get this DRS back, and indeed he has on at least going through the center S's. So good first sector for him, but with no battery really to use. And, you know, one lap all the tyres, I don't know if he's going to be able to maintain that. And Volokongan might be in a good position to take what is a net P2 away. Both ET8 drivers are still out on track, running on those medium tyres. The only drivers yet to pit besides Polly Massey, obviously, was a ghost car. What strategy are they doing? Now, they must be doing a medium to soft.
Yeah, must be mediums to soft at the moment for both of the ET8 boys as well. Bearing in mind, Justin has got that 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. May have been caused by Alex Loffer missing his braking point and sending him into the pit lane over the speed limit. If that is the situation, there's always a possibility that 10-second penalty could be removed post-race, which could actually completely change what happens with FRT in the standings, because of course they're still in that battle for P3 overall at the moment. It's very tightly compacted of just a little bit over 20 points, separating the teams from P3 down to P6 overall in the standings. So keep an eye out on that one. We've got Brando now finally in to get off of these medium tyres. He has gone for another set of mediums though on this occasion, Bobbert, so clearly not sort of falling in line with the expectation here, but thinks that he might want to be able to take these mediums a shorter distance, which means he can burn and race harder on those tyres and still have more tyres over at the end of this race, which potentially means he'll have the tyre delta towards the end of this sprint race, even though there's only 4 laps to go.
Indeed, yes, and well, we've seen even with 1 lap fresher tyres how much quicker they are. Like, you know, just look at Justin now; he's over a second clear of Volokongan now, who got them moved on, and Ray Winston to the centre S's on the brakes into turn 1. Quite easy move there, really, for the SCI man, who are doing a decent job so far in this sprint race. And AMR only got 1 driver in P5, so far so good for SCI. But yeah, with Brando's 3 to 4 lap fresher tyres predominantly to the field in front, and Matteo now going to the pits having an extra lap again. They might come good at the end of the race, but they've got a lot of overtaking to do to try and negate any time loss that they have done. But here comes Alex Loffer now, less than 2 tenths behind the Williams in front. Ray Wynn struggling a little bit. Matteo actually goes for the soft tyre choice, and there's a gap down the inside here for the Ferrari into the first turn, down the inside of the Williams, who just seems to be struggling. But he still shows his nose on the inside to turn 2, but in the end Alex Loffer gets the move done. Good move there from the AMR man. He goes into P3, and now here comes Snack to try and take advantage. Ray Winston's got no battery to defend. That was moving under braking. If a little bit naughty, unless that was kind of Snack maybe trying to go for a dummy move, but it's one of those, I suppose you could say. But here comes Snack now trying to stuck his nose in down the inside of the fair enduro. You don't see many overtakes there, and we haven't. But in fact, Snack's got damage on that. He's missing his end plate, and that's caused by the when he hit the back of it going in towards turn 4.
Yeah, situation report then, unfortunately, for the recently crowned champion as well, is Snack. He's in a situation where, unfortunately, he's going to have to manage that little bit of the situation here. Bearing in mind, by the way, 3 laps to go, SCI can still be crowned champions after this race here, depending on if they outscore, I believe, AMR by over 14 points in this one. We'll do the math on that one, but as it stands so far, I think they are going to be champions at the end of this one, but because it's all going to be dependent on Justin, of course, with that 10-second penalty, which unfortunately for him, he's now only 3.5 tenths in front of Volokongan, who's had a really horrible turn 1 there, actually, put him under pressure from Alex Loffer, who's actually looking to try and save AMR's blushes here from potentially losing out on the title, at least trying to take it to the main race here. We'll see what they do as we see lap 10 of 12, 1 and a bit laps to go in this race now, as we just keep a very firm eye on what the AMR man is going to do versus Volokongan.
Indeed, Yopwop actually tried to go around the outside there of Snack going in through Ferradura. Is he going to stick it down the inside now into turn A? The answer is no. He sticks in behind, but you can see how much quicker this Mercedes is because he's got a full wing compared to end plate missing on the Alpine in front. Coming into Pico de Pato, he's on the outside though. Snack defending the inside well there, and they've got this 3-second gap behind them. So, yep, they're not going to be under threat from anybody behind. So at least Snack, if he did lose a place, it should only be the one. Matteo going up a place into P13, now into P12. But Yopwop sent it down the inside into John Sal. That's contact made between the pair of them. That was tyre to side pod. And the Mercedes is rammed. He's out of the points. He's down to P16 and RSC's day, if it wasn't bad already for the qualifying ban they're going to be having later on for one of their drivers, is even worse now. It's no points for them in the sprint race.
Yeah, no, that's the worst possible scenario for RSC here. Only chance they could have had some big points is in this sprint race, and neither driver going to be scoring anything at all at the moment as a result of that one. Alex Loffer all over the back of Volokongan on the penultimate lap of this race here. Keep a very firm eye on what's going to happen here. Your overtake could be used by the Ferrari man here, but whether or not Alex Loffer is going to consider a move or he's going to wait it out, we'll have to see. Justin will do everything that he can to defend this one, but that 10-second penalty, it will be for nothing. It's all dependent on whether that 10-second penalty gets removed though, Bobbers.
It certainly does, and well, I mean, to me, it looked like there was a little bit of contact, which certainly may have propelled the Racing Bull. Considering he was actually going slower compared to the Ferrari, because Alex Loffa had locked up his brakes and was trying to avoid him. So I think there was a bit of contact between them. So I think that can be removed, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But I'll tell you what, Volakonga was obviously out of the DRS a few laps ago when he got the move done on Ray Wins. The fact he's got back in it, and on one lap all the tyres is, you know, fair play to him. He's got the job done, and with the DRS, he's able to hold off Alex Loffa there, who is trying to go for a move anywhere he can, but he can't quite get close enough. Ray Wins there in P4, just kind of hanging on really to these three. Snack in P5, it's all in behind, where IRT are having a decent sprint race here in P6 and P7 respectively, and are just working together very nicely, and considering where they started as well. It's a very good sprint race for them, at least.
Yeah, certainly, as well, as we keep an eye out on this one here. Volakongan will be looking like he's going to convert this into a race victory here. Justin will do the best he can to try and defend it, but of course, it's all very much dependent on what is the situation with the rest of the field, because of course, that time penalty could end up becoming a serious factor in this one. We are just trying to do the math on the situation. We think SCI are going to be crowned champions imminently, but it's all dependent on Alex Loffa's points haul from this major sprint race. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a mathematician in the background doing that one. One thing is for certain is Justin has done everything that he can do to convert this one here, as you've seen something in the background potentially involving Esco, maybe even Matteo on the soft tyre, but it doesn't matter. In the end, it's all going to be about the performance here of FRT's Justin. He will go to the stewards and say that this was his well-deserved sprint race victory. Volakongan comes across the line as the race victor. Snack finishes in P4 despite the front wing damage. Alex Loffa is in P2. So we'll do the maths on this one, but SCI could be champions already.
There is a possibility. I mean, I'm trying to do the maths myself, actually, on the top of my head. Basing it off as they were, you know, any potential penalty removal. So, obviously, first and fourth for SCI, second for AMR, even Escreen not scoring points at all in the second Ferrari. So, as it currently stands,
I don't believe they are,
the gap is 60. The gap is 68 points.
So Alex Loffa has done everything that he can do to take this to the main race. So actually, we haven't got champions just yet. So it's all going to be about this main race then going into this finale. We've got Volakongan, who's come out on top in the end, versus Alex Loffa, Ray Winston, Snack, Jaden, Lucas, Esco. We've got Dom, Brando, Leon, Matteo, Matt, Ivan, Justin, Adrian, Johan, Yoop, AGK. That's horrible for RSC. Guy Tanson, Polymassi rounding out the 20 drivers. Polymassi will, of course, DNF from this one, or did not start because of course he didn't take part in this one. Quick reminder of what happened. That's not last week. We want to talk about the standings, of course. So this is the results as of post Great Britain. In this scenario here, Bobberts, we're in a situation where fundamentally SCI are going to be probably crowned champions of this one. They wanted to do it in the sprint, let's be honest, but it is now officially being taken all the way to the final round in the main race.
Indeed, they will, and I mean that's they've been pushed to an extent, I guess you could say. I mean, you know, it looked very different earlier on in the season when they were under a little bit of pressure, especially from the likes of RSC at that point, actually. But you know, once the second driver got, you know, some better results coming in, that's when everything changed. And again, it just shows to the testament of the SCI roster that it doesn't really matter who they put in, they will bring results. And yeah, they had a wobble last week, obviously. And to be fair, they had a wobble again, you know, a few rounds ago in round 11. But that's why they're here, and this is why they're champions, because they still pick up the points where they need to, and likely to go for as you say in NASCAR, a four-peat.
Yes, certainly indeed. So we are just getting the next lobby set up. So what we'll do is take a very quick break as we obviously get the new lobby set up, and we will try and crown a champion tonight. Don't go away. Welcome back, folks, to WOR and the Legacy Division. So we are getting ourselves going now imminently with what will be no doubt a very, very intense set of races ahead of us here. We're wrapping it all up here now. We are going to be crowning a champion no matter what. First off, though, we've got to decide the grid. And, of course, there are some permutations we've got to understand. Let's have take a quick look at the drivers' table here for what is happening tonight. Situation report. It is just a side note on this one, as we have just loaded it into the lobby. We're not quite right with ET8 on this one. Sergio is not taking part. It's Matteo and Brando here tonight. But the critical thing here is RSC. They've had a shocker of a sprint race here, Adam, and now Enzo qualifying ban, AGK 5-place grid penalty, a team with only 7 points between them and the 4th place team of Ventauri. They are in deep trouble.
They certainly are, and like I said, Uppbeat, who had a good chance of some good points in the sprint race, only to come a cropper towards the end of that, and dropping from what was P5, P6 all the way down to 16th, and there's still hope in the race. Obviously, we know anything can happen, but they're doing it, with one hand tied behind their backs, with that poor showing in the sprint race. But well, let's see what they can do. They've got it all to do. It's a case of, can the likes of Ventauri, ET8 and FRT take advantage of that? And obviously FRT did do that with Justin taking victory in the sprint race. Yes, he got the penalty. Whether that gets removed or not, we will wait and see after tonight. But certainly going to become under pressure, under fire from all 3 teams behind them now.
Yeah, of course, situation report at the moment, as you've just seen on the graphic. SCI are on 549, AMR 481, RSC 380, Ventauri, 9 points behind overall. That's for on 371, then ET8 362, FRT 352. So very, very close margins between Ps 3, 4, 5 and 6 here, and of course any one of those 4 teams could automatically qualify as a result, though RSC, despite being the leading team in P3, unfortunately for them, definitely are on the back foot. Right, so situation report. We've had the sprint race, of course. Big result for Justin was a 10-second penalty, then handed over to Volakongan as the sprint race winner. But definitely going to be question marks about whether Volakongan's going to keep that one, simply not because of anything he's done wrong, but purely because of Alex Loffer, the man we're on board with it right now. He crashed into the back of Justin going into the pits and caused him to get a 10-second penalty. So there'll be very much questions from the stewards about whether Alex Loffer will get a penalty and whether Justin will get his rescinded.
I think it's second part definitely likely to get rescinded. The first part, it's a case of obviously what FRT decide to do, I guess, whether or not they give Alex Loffer a penalty for that or not. I mean, yes, it was a mistake, obviously one that could have been avoided. They're just trying to break as late as they can, obviously, to not get that 10-second penalty, but in the end it cost Justin, not from his own deal. Snack sets the first lap time on the board. It's a 106.7, 1/10 slower than what Justin did in the one-shot qualifying session earlier, and his team of Volakonga next across the line goes about 2/10 slower nearly to his teammates into P2 for the time being. Obviously, these are early days, still got quite a long way to go, as Alex Loffer just puts a benchmark and to say to SCI, look, there might be this big gap, but we are still here to fight, and anything could still happen. He now goes provisional pole by over 0.2 of a second already in this early stage.
Yeah, of course, remember Shazoo Snack took the PSGL F1 title a couple of days ago, so he will be high in good form at the moment, as he is just finding a couple of tenths over his teammate Volakongan up in P3. AMR throwing everything they can, though, in this early stage in qualifying at trying to get a good chance of doing this, though. Remember, situation for them is it's pretty simple, really. AMR need to finish first and second. It's as simple as that if they want to become champions here tonight. SCI have got to just get one of their drivers into the top 11 to be champions. So it's just as simple as that, really. AMR currently throwing everything they can. They've just got to hope that the results elsewhere go in their favour, with SCI scoring 11th place, which the last time that one was at the United States Grand Prix, I think it was, a couple of rounds ago. So it's not out of the realms of possibility. The only problem is I've always had one driver at least within the top 10.
Indeed, and that's the difficulty that AMR are going to have, is not banking on one but both SCI drivers to have issues in the race, and that is, I mean, you've got probably better odds, perhaps. I'm not going to say of winning the lottery, but you know, on a 100 to 1 horse, perhaps on winning the Grand National, maybe, which has happened in the past. So this is what I mean. Never say never. Anything can happen. As Brando has just crashed going into the pit lane. He broke too hard. The car went sideways, and ET8 now, you know, a chance of finishing P3. Brando has just that is an unusual one.
I think that's just typical of ET8 this season, isn't it, really? They've just not been on form at all, have the Spanish outfit, and unfortunately for them, 362 points down in P5 overall, on for one of their lowest finishes in around about 4 seasons, ET8 here, and as it stands so far, they're in real trouble. Now, they've got one of their drivers with a 1070 at this circuit. Yeah, that is not ideal, to say the least. Just following at the moment, Esco as well. FST not showing a bad little viewing here, of 106.9, 6th and 7th respectively here on their final outing this season. Former FST driver Dom just navigating his way around the circuit, now racing in the McLaren BRC as he's heading his way around the circuit. 107.2 for his troubles. There's Ray Wince as well, of course, the podium sitter at the last race in the sprint race rather, for this particular race weekend. He's heading his way now down towards turn number 4 in the hope that Ventauri could do exactly the opposite of what happened last time out last season when they lost out to P3 to FRT. They're hoping to take P3 out of the hands of RSC.
What an amazing, what a story that would be, to show the difference between, last season, season 6 here to season 7, as to, like I said, losing out on the final race to maybe gaining it, and the final race for this season. But the drivers have still got to do a job. Obviously, neither driver has currently set a lap time for VNT, but Ray Wince hoping to put that to bed. In fact, actually, Leon is actually further up the road to him. He's already coming through. He's already gone through Junsao, coming through the final little kink up to the start-finish line. Where does Leon go? That's more like it. P2 onto the front row of the grid provisionally, and now his teammate just at the same point as I went on board with him. Where can Ray Wince go? Look decent in the sprint race, like maybe a little bit of pace come the end of it, but where does he go? It's P4. That's more like it for VNT, and that's exactly what they need to do. Even with AGK looking decent in P5 at the moment, and ET8 with one driver out of qualifying, maybe it is advantage VNT.
Maybe it certainly is indeed. It's going to be interesting to see how this one develops here, because right now, as it stands so far anyway, Ventauri have got one hand on potentially taking P3 out of the hands of RSC here, a team that at one point looked like they were actually going to be battling for the title, and what a fall from grace it is from the relatively new team as well that's been developing at RSC as well. Here comes Snack as he comes across the line, and there is what we expect from SCI, of course, taking the top step of this one at 106.5 flat with 10 minutes to go in this short qualifying session. The PSGL F1 champion showing his pace, but Alex Loffer went one step faster by nearly just over a tenth.
Indeed, it's just a repeat of the first run. Snack getting the upper hand, but then Alex Loffer coming back with a bang for AMR. Unfortunately, his teammate has invalidated, so even Eskrig would not improve on his 106.6, currently P4 at the moment. Who else is coming across the line? Here comes Vola Kongan now to the line, down into P11 now, as other drivers are finishing their runs. He only goes up to P9 with a 10.5 improvement, but look how close and tight that is, from himself up to Ray Wince. That's 5 cars separated by less than a tenth. Now you can throw Polly Massey into that as well, the driver who's not taken or done a lap yet here until now, and he's got himself up into P5 for BRC. And just to add, well, a little bit of, I'm not going to say an issue, but the midfield is not where you want to be, and Volkongan, he's still got 9 minutes to go, still got 2 more runs, but got work to do.
Yeah, certainly a bit of work to do here, as we're just following Adrian at the moment, the FRT man, trying his hardest at the moment to navigate around the circuit and try and give FRT an outside chance of automatically qualifying for the 2nd season in a row. Heads his way now down towards Junshao. What is the Racing Bull looking like when he turns in here? Was Adrian Reese, I think he left, was it IRT at one point? Oh no, I think it was AERT, I think, maybe to switch over to FRT. I can't remember, it was a while ago now. They've had alcohol since then. As they head their way down to the final corner now, does Adrian? Oh, he's invalidated the final corner. That was clumsy.
There's certain ways to invalidate it, and then there's doing it there. That's I'm not going to say I've not seen him before, because I have, but, you know, at this level, you can't be doing silly things like that. I mean, he was at 0.853. It was enough for P11, but, yeah, he needs... I don't think I have any words for that, actually, to be honest, Jota. It's just so silly and so unnecessary. But either way, he's done it, and that's an end of it. Here comes GT10 Johan, and he goes into P11 now, and actually, well, goes ahead of Adrian as a result, who's down in P19, and the last of the drivers who obviously don't have a qualifying ban, just 10 seconds off the pace from Dom in front of him. Is anybody else on lap? AGK, I believe, is not on a lap. I think he's abandoned. Mustn't have been happy somewhere. Yes, he's completely down on his lap time, so no improvement for him. But Justin, also not on lap. He's abandoned from this attempt. Probably not happy with his first sector. But yeah, everyone now coming out for their third attempts. And what seemed obviously was a very, very short track. Can we get into the very low 106s, I wonder?
Yeah, potentially. We've just seen Dom come across the line to go P11 for the Bravo Racing Club, but don't be confused. He's not an FST man anymore. He's a BRC man, as we're just following Esco here as he goes through the second sector. This is the FST driver alongside his teammate Matt here, hoping that they can remain off of the bottom of the standings. BRC looking more and more likely that they're going to be finishing bottom as it stands here, and FST will be finishing in P9, but it's all about what the Kick Saubers are doing. It's a very close battle for P. Has been all the way through the season, to be fair, between IRT, FST and BRC. BRC lost a lot of ground over the last few rounds as FST now going 8th and 10th respectively, so they are throwing a little bit of a challenge here at IRT. Gap between them at the moment, I believe, is 22 points in the standings. That's post the sprint race that we've just had, so opportunity potentially here for FST. If they are significantly faster than IRT, there's a potential here. FST could be on their way to a dizzying heights of P8, which is not bad for a relatively new team.
It certainly is, and I think they can hold their heads up high. I mean, there has been times that, you know, they've been at the back of the grid, but they've also shown races where they've got good pace and even qualified very high up. You know, if you look at Matt getting that, where was it? That sprint race win back in Belgium, and then obviously winning in Jeddah as well. So they have won this season as well, the fastest stage here, and they can build on that, but they just need to get the results in more consistently, as Ivan Eskrig has gone into P3 now with his latest attempt. Justin now goes into P4 for FRT, showing that his pace is just carrying on as it was in the sprint format. How Snack gets on, he's only just started the middle sector, to be fair. Alex Loffer is just up the road from him this time around, so role reversal as it currently stands. Ray Wintz has just come through Jun Sao, now down into P7, but supposedly purple middle sector. Take that for a pinch of salt, as I keep saying every single week. Well, here comes the VNT man to the line, and 106.7 is his current best. Where do we go? We don't improve, actually. We stay P7 as it currently stands. But here comes the provisional pole sitter to the line. Is it an improvement? It is indeed, by half a tenth to a 0.343. Snack is over a tenth up on his best. He can close that gap even more if he can. He can't just close it. He outdoes it by 5 1,000ths.
Oh, really, really impressive stuff here. Now we've got very close margins between the AMR boys and the SCI boys. This is what we've been wanting to see all the way through, but they've tried their hardest here. AMR, they need to finish 1-2 here tonight. There is no option to be outside of the of a front row lockout and a conversion of that front row lockout, and SCI need to have both of their drivers outside of the top 11 in order for AMR to be champions here tonight. However, situation report, as I said, for SCI, they've always had at least one driver in the top 10. In fact, I think they've always had one driver in the top 8 this season, so they're going to have to beg that the Scottish outfit are going to do something that they haven't done this season.
And again, like I said earlier, never say never, things can happen, but AMR need a lot of luck. I mean, not only do they have to get the drivers as 1-2 finish, but like you said, then hope that both SCO drivers are outside the top 11 to fully cement a championship winning title out of the blue for them. But yeah, still work to be done. But P2 and P3, I take that back. P2 and P4 now on the grid, as VNT's Leon separates them and goes in between, and AGK goes into P6. So he's doing all he can for RSC. He's the one with the 5-place grid penalty. So the moment would start P11 in between the two Aston Martins. So not doing a bad job. I mean, look how tight and congested it is. From Justin down to Polly Massey, 1/100th between those three drivers. It is very, very close.
Yeah, forgive me, just keeping a very firm eye on GT10's Johan at the moment here, as well as he's now heading his way through Zheng Xiao. He managed to find 1,000 in the first sector, but he's well off the pace now, so I think he's abandoned this attempt. He should dive into pits, and that's exactly what he is doing. So, situation then around the field. Yoopawop, of course, is serving a qualifying ban. Brando is out of qualifying after crashing in the pit lane entry, so ETH's chances of automatically qualifying have been drastically reduced as a result of that one. Matteo down in P8 is not helpful either. You've got AGK in a respectable P6 for RSC, but that's not going to be enough with Yoopawop's qualifying ban. And of course, remember, wherever AGK qualifies, he's got to then be knocked down 5 positions, so they've got to bear that one in mind as well. Justin will be disappointed with P5 at the moment. He's got more pace than that one, he will say. SCI Snack leading the way though by 5 1,000ths of a second, with Leon in the mix as well. There for Ventaur is showing that they're going to throw everything they can at RSC. His teammate though, Ray Wins, down in P9.
Indeed, yeah, Ray Wins didn't have a good third lap, but hopefully for his sake he can do better. I mean, yeah, Justin did a 0.66 in one-shot qualifying. He's only gone 3 100ths quicker in the short qualifying that we have here, but he is going to be the first driver to start their final attempt here in qualifying. If he does mess up, he has got plenty of time to back out and go again into turn 1, into the center S as we go. Clip to the inside nicely there. There are 2 attempts there though to turn into turn 2 and 3, and as a result he's gone off wide. The car was a bit unsettled, and through the curve of the sol he's backed out of it already, and that's the beauty of at least going out early, is that you can back out, recharge that battery already as he has done, not take too much life out of the tyres, and go again later. So we now go on board. Who's the next one to give it a go? It's going to be BRC's Dom. In fact, nope, he's now pulled off. He's not happy, and neither is Esco. Drivers are backing out of this. Maybe they're actually just going to wait until the very end on very low fuel.
Yeah, maybe. I think Justin, to be fair, probably did want to have another go at that one, but the turn 2 certainly looked a little bit shaky, and I'm surprised actually he was able to keep his lap with how wide he was at 2. So yeah, no surprises, though he's abandoned this one because he knows he would have lost far too many hundredths of a second to have put any dent on closing down the likes of this man, Ivan Eskrig. 42,000's down in the first sector. He's going to keep going though, is the AMR man. Needs to convert this into a first and second place here. AMR need to do everything they possibly can in order to convert a 1-2 finish here tonight, and they're going to have to hope, as said, that SCI do something that they haven't done all the way through this season and be outside of the top 11. They've never been outside the top 8, or at least one of their drivers has not been out of the top 8 this season. So it goes to show the sheer consistency of the Suzuki Igniters this season is what's potentially carrying them to a 3rd title. They've just got to hope that there's a huge bottle, as you just see a massive bottle going through Zheng Xiao there from Ivan Eskrig, and that's actually going to harm his chances all the way down this back straight, of course, because of course he's not going to carry any of the speed that he would have wanted to. So there's no point in continuing the lap, and that's why he's pitting in right now. Has he even got time? No, he's buried it into the wall, Ivan Eskrig, in pure frustration.
He wasn't the only one. Alex Loffer was actually up on his lap time and just had a bit of a wobble through John Sau himself. So AMR are done. Here comes Snack the line. He's way down, so he's not improving. Leon still, he's actually on his final attempt now, but he's only going through turn 4. I'm going to board with Justin down in P5, coming through Magulio. Volkongen goes into P5 now. That's the lap that he needs to do, but Justin is over a 10th up. Adrian's been disqualified for facing the wrong way. Interesting one there, just cements his qualifying and how poor it's been. Here comes Justin to the line though. He can get onto the provisional front row, maybe at least second row. Where is it going to be for the FL team? And it is P3 with a 6.482. But there are still a few more drivers coming to the line, none the least AJK Racing, who's looked decent here in qualifying, as has Paulie Massey. He goes P4. Where does the RSC man go? He's P6 again, just as he was earlier on. So provisionally starts P11, but there's still a few more to come, none the least Ray Wintz, who's a 10th up.
Yeah, looking relatively strong here as we're now at the end of this qualifying session. I don't know why Adrian's decided to drive the wrong way. If that was on purpose, he was in P14, so he'd have still been within touching distance. Remember, AGK's got to serve a 5-place grid penalty, and at this one, Ray Wintz comes across the line. He'll start in P6 alongside his teammate on the 3rd row with AGK down in P11 as a result of the qualifying, grid penalty. Lucas is not improving. He'll be in P16 overall. That's the end of qualifying. qualifying. The Shizusi Igniters have now got 1.5 hands on this trophy with Snack in P1. His teammate Volakongan down in P9. It won't matter for SCI. They just need one driver in the top 11 to be crowned champions here tonight. And ideally, AMR would have had both drivers in front, but that last-ditch attempt at the end of qualifying, Alex Loffer's on the front row, even Eskrig relegated to P8.
Indeed, all those drivers in between them, getting their laps in at the end when it really mattered. The likes of Justin Polymassi, who for me has been a shining light in BRC in terms of his pace and especially in qualifying, but in the race has shown good potential as well, and certainly has been like I said, a shining light for BRC, and with him starting in P4. But it is Snack, as you said, on pole by 5 1,000ths to Alex Loffer in P2, Justin in P3, so it's first and third from the 2 qualifying sessions for him. Polymass in P4, Leon in P5, and his teammate starting P6, VNT, at this stage looking good to overhaul RSC and get that third place overall finish.
Yeah, potentially. That's what it's all going to be about. We'll keep a very firm eye on the situation here. We are going to have to commit, unfortunately, to another race restart in this one because, of course, we've got to get the situation of the grid penalties applied. So we'll take a brief break in just a second. If you don't mind, actually, I've just put the wrong graphic on. I didn't want to look at the standings. I wanted to look at the calendar and do a little bit of a retrospective on this one here, Adam, because it's been one hell of a season, hasn't it? We started all the way back on February 3rd, where we did the Monaco F2 cars event. We have the Qatari Grand Prix Qatari qualifying session back on January 20th. So quite a while ago. So much has happened in that time, and in the end, we're wrapping it all up here in where else but Sao Paulo for this sprint race to crown a champion here. And in that time, what we saw was RSC coming out of nowhere to be title haulers, AMR rising up the standings to then become the runners-up, SCI on the other hand just keeping that consistent measure going, and they're looking to try and become treble world champions.
Indeed, in the space, like you said, in over 3 months, since we had that qualifying in Qatar, and then, like you said, taken to the streets of Monaco for round 1 to here for round 14, and from one famous circuit to another here in the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. It's been a fantastic season. We've had ups and downs. Every team has had ups and downs, let's be honest. And if I'm right in saying, in fact, actually, 2 teams have not had race victories this season, that being BRC and IRT. So they would maybe like to, get a win in their hands if they could. I mean, for where they're starting, they're going to have to get a lot of luck to go that way, as just like AMR have to if they want to take this title away. But I'll tell you what, one thing either way, AMR at least, will finish second, and I think they can certainly be proud now being the, best Spanish outfit here in F1.
Yes, certainly, and that's what it's all going to be about here for these guys. We are taking a very brief break as well as just quickly correction as well. Sorry, SCI. You'll be quadruple world champions, of course, because you won. I keep forgetting that you won that season back in season 4. So, you ended up having that close battle with Novus, if you remember. If we want to have a little bit of a callback on that one. Anyway, we're taking a brief break as we get the lobby set up once again. Don't go away. We're crowning a champion right after this. Hello then folks, welcome back to WOR and the Legacy Division. We are having a few technical issues which just needed to be resolved, and thankfully we are now ready and raring to go for what will be, no doubt, a very intense race ahead of us with myself, James Otter, Jota, and of course Adam Roberts-Boberts for what will be the final race of the season, taking part in what seems to be now a growing overcast over here in Brazil here. We're crowning a champion here tonight here, and well, early favourites STI. Simply put, they just need to have one driver in the top 11. They've done that all season, so it's surely really in their grasp now.
Yeah, like you said earlier, Jota, they had, 1.5 hands on that title. I'm going to say it's 2 hands and just missing the pinky finger just to get both grips on that, tightly. So, yeah, like you said, it's just one driver. Well, even then, AMR still got to finish 1-2, and they have done that. They did do that 2 rounds ago, and they were 2nd and 3rd last week. So it's not out of the equation. We know that anything can happen in any form of sport, nonetheless, obviously in F1. But they've got a lot of work to do, and they're going to have to hope that SCI have an absolute calamity and downfall for that to happen. So, but yeah, like he said, even if they did, they just need one driver in the top 11, and it's game, set, and match, and that is the championship to SCI for the 4th season running. I think the best battle to look out for, as we know, is for that final automatic qualifying spot for next season for P3 overall. 4 teams still at it. RSC, though, the current team in P3, have it all to do considering where they're starting, and it's VNT, I think, the team in 4th place in the driving seat.
Situation report then is at the bottom there, so this is taking into account the grid positions. Of course, if everyone were to finish where they were, SCI would finish on 597 points, AMR 523, and RSC 385. But a very, very tightly compact competition happening for P3 overall in the standings is something worth keeping a very firm eye out on. Situation on that one will be monitored as this race progresses, as will the weather. We know rain can fall pretty rapidly around here. Those clouds are looking a bit precarious.
They certainly are, and we know here, well, we say that, but we're already going to the grid, Jota, with no more waiting.
Going with it, no more waiting at all. Let's go racing then here in Brazil. The drivers were very keen to get on with this one then, as they head their way through into turn 1. Snack immediately defending the inside line then from Alex Loffer. Of course, remember the Ferraris need to finish 1-2 here, and he's very well defended from Snack, but side by side they will go with FRT's Justin, who feels like he's had a bit of an injustice, to be honest with you, as he heads through towards turn number 4 from the sprint race earlier on in this one. He'll want to try and prove a point here. FRT, of course, got that tightly compact competition happening for P3 in the standings, so they need a decent result here. Ventari looking relatively good, 5th and 6th respectively. Volokongan already up to 8th. BRC looking nice as well, with Dom up in 8th and Polymasi into 4th. Make that potentially P7. Look at him making a dive on Volokongan. Here is Dom. Gets a little bit of a tank slapper though. Loses a position again, but Dom willing to get a little bit racy with the champions elect.
Certainly isn't. He wasn't afraid to show that in the first race, and Polymasi now though coming under threat down through Magulio from Leon here. VNT obviously P4 in the standings, starting 5th and 6th, and the lead driver of Leon trying to get a move done on the McLaren. He's on the outside there, he gets the move done, and Leon goes into P4. What can Ray Wintz do now though? Can he get close to the back of that McLaren out in front, just in front of him, out in front Snack? Leads the way at the end of the first lap, out of 36. That's a dive from Ray Wintz into the center S's. He's bit of contact made. He's going for a switchback. Polymasi holds on for now, but VNT certainly looking aggressive. They know what they need to do, and they want to get it done as soon as they can. But here comes Volokongan now. Can he get it moved on down to turn 4? The answer is no. So it's as you were, but VNT looking very, very racy.
Yeah, getting a little bit too aggressive though. I think Ray went off on that curb, started bottoming out and lost the rear. Could have ended up in a position where Volokongan ended up re-overtaking him. In the end though, he holds on to P6 and Polymasi still in P5. Alex Loffer starting to lose a little bit of ground here to Snack, the PSGL F1 champion, now heading his way around the rest of these corners here with Snack around about 6.5 tenths in front of Alex Loffer. Lost a couple of tenths on that last corner there, did Snack, so not able to get out the corner as fast as Alex Loffer can do. He heads out of Jun Xiao though, managed to find another tenth. So overall though, Snack looking like the quicker driver. In terms of tyres, everyone on a medium tyre except Ivan Eskrig and Matteo, and everyone in the bottom 7 except for Gaitans.
Indeed, yes, I was just going to bring that up actually, and yeah, interesting that AMR have split their strategies this time round. Obviously, even Eskrig's down a little bit further down and thinking they're not going to lose too much. Here comes Faster State True's Matt though, trying to get a move done on Mateo. That's medium against hard tyre compound. I think Mateo is he got to try and defend this one and try and re-attack that Aston Martin. He's on the outside, but in the end decides better of it. They don't want to lose too much time to that Ferrari in front of them, but it is Matt who goes into P10 now ahead of Mateo, and ET8 themselves still fighting for that third place finish overall, but P11 and P19 is not where they want to be. Even at these early stages, they have it all to do, but are on the alternate strategy compared to most of the field. The only other team fully that have gone all hards is IRT.
Situation then in terms of the title hunt at the moment, with your Hop down now in P14 and a horrible start for the man on the hard tyre. His teammate AGK down in 18th place would mean that they're actually going to get overtaken in the standings by Ventari by a considerable margin. So they really need to start picking up the pace a little bit here as they get on that one as well. SCI currently on the way to breaching 600 points if they finish the way that they are here. Here comes Esco over the back of Mateo as fast as Stay True. Tried to get that position. Very well switched back though from the veteran driver as he now holds on to P11 on that hard tyre. If anything, possibly Grand Track 10's Johan trying to get all over the back of Esco here. Is he going to go for the move into 4? He won't on this occasion, and I keep mentioning those clouds. They're looking dark.
They certainly do, but whether or not if there is any rain forecast and if it will come is certainly another fact altogether. But certainly will keep the track temperatures a little bit cooler, and it might help the medium tyre runners potentially on that front. Just speaking of RSC before, as you were, Jot, I mean, Yopop has gained 6 places off the start, doing what he needed to do, but AGK has dropped 8 places. I don't know if there was contact, and in fact, actually, AGK is missing a front right end plate, so it certainly came a cropper in those early stages. And Adrian for FRT at the back of the field, 3 seconds off, must have had a mistake on the previous lap. Out in front, Snack still leads the way, 7/10 over Alex Loffer. It's pretty much a DRS train through the first 15.
Yeah, situation for them as well. I've just done the maths on this one. Ventauri are going to be overtaking here the team of RSC by around 25 points as it stands, so it's looking pretty substantial. In fact, have we got the standings updated? We do. Here it is. Yeah, so there it is as it stands so far. Valakongan up into P7 overall with Snack leading the way, means that SCI are on 601. AMR with a 2nd and a 9th at the moment puts them in 2nd place on 521, 80 points behind, and then Ventauri are now taking P3 out of RSC hands again, in the very opposite of what happened to them at this time last season. The final race of the season, they lost out on P3, of course, to FRT. Now they're taking P3 out of the hands of another team, and trying to, maybe take the learnings of what happened last season and directly resolve that challenge.
Indeed, yeah, it would have been even more superficial, may not be the word, but if it was FRT in 3rd place and taking it away from them, that would be rubbing, well, it's not even salt in the wounds really, but it's certainly getting payback on a competitive team that's been racing up against all season. But yeah, so far so good for VNT. Really on a P4, Ray went in P6. It's everything settled down now after those first few carnage first few laps, let's just say. And yeah, even the hard tyres now are starting to get up to speed, taking a bit of time to warm up obviously, but even Eskrig holding his own in P9, looking very comfortable as it currently stands. I say that Gaitans and Lucas and AGK battling it out for what is P17, and the Kick Sauber has now picked up wing damage, so we've got Lucas and AGK with front end plates missing, battling away for P18.
Yeah, what a horrible, horrible race weekend this is turning out to be for RSC as it stands, only scoring 2 points because they scored nothing in the sprint race, and they're going to be scoring nothing as it stands other than a couple of points in the main race, in a race where they needed to be really in the mix. And of course it didn't help as they got a big dive bomb there from AGK to try and get back into the top 18, but it's going to be very much all in fair one between the pair. Squeezed off of the circuit, picking up a little bit of grass, go down that inside, he'll lock up the front right as a result. Will he get this one done though? Will AGK on this occasion? Lucas still side by side as they head down the hill towards Jun Xiao, but he gets the move done. Does AGK around the outside, nicely crafted from the RSC man, but it's going to be all in fair one for him because he's going to have absolutely nothing to show for it as it stands with the amount of points he's going to be getting. Johan getting overtaken by Uppbeat, but though at least gives RSC some reprieve from a couple of points now to 4.
Indeed, yes. Johan just lost the DRS to Esco in front of him, and Yopop, even his hard tyres, show it with a full battery to his disposal, getting the move done fairly easily. Now he'll see if he can chase after the second of the two Aston Martins in front of him, but he's got to gain a few tenths if he wants to get back within that DRS. But certainly the medium tyres maybe starting to fall away ever so slightly. Maybe the hards are now starting to, if not a balanced or the same sort of pace, if not slightly quicker now compared to the medium tyre runners. But it is early days. Obviously it's a 36 lap race. We're only on lap 7, 30 laps to go including this one, and it's anything can still happen. We've got, you know, it's settled down, as I've said. One safety car or even a VSC can certainly throw a cat amongst the pigeons, and especially for those on the hard tyres as to what strategy they then do.
Situation at the moment for RSC is that they're going to be out of the automatic qualifying places. Decent result for Ventari, 4th and 6th respectively. Alex Loffer doing everything he possibly can to put Snack under some kind of pressure. Remember, AMR need to take a 1-2. If they can't take a 1-2, it doesn't matter what SCI do. They will be champions here tonight. If they do manage to get a 1-2, then SCI just need to score an 11th place with one of their drivers to guarantee the championship. So it's all looking pretty good at the moment for the Scottish outfit to become quadruple world champions. It's just a matter of whether they are going to be able to continue with that consistency, or if something is going to happen, or if rain ends up catching them out, because of course usually in Brazil when the rain comes it does fall pretty rapidly.
Sorry, that was Matteo and Matt going side by side through Ferradura, and it's not the first time Matteo's been going sideways through, but first in the sprint race and now here again. At least this time he's still ended up facing the right way. He's lagging ever so slightly. Whether that's involved or not is another thing, but yeah, he wanted to get that move done on Matt, and he did, but not at least with both of them going sideways.
As well, worth making note that Matt has also got a wing damage as well on the left-hand side end, but right side end plate as we go on board with him. Yorpwop we're on board with though at the moment, looking to try and get past Esco if he can possibly help it. Looks like the FST boys are going to switch, but then of course Yorpwop wants to get the double as he goes through into turn 1, and very well crafted indeed from the RSC man. Very patient racing to get the double on them. 1.6 seconds the gap between him and Matteo, though he'll look to try and chase that one down, while FST of course are going to continue running behind Yorpwop, using that DRS if he can help it. And the problem is Esco's got barely any electrical energy left in that power unit.
Indeed he does, and I think a lot of that cemented on trying to stick with Matteo on the previous lap as he was trying to fight his way with Matt. But Yopop doing a good job here for RSC. You know, he's made the moves where he needs to. He's up 9 places in the first 8.5 laps, so he's doing a very good job for RSC to try and see if they can hold on to P3, and they are really, they're going to have to throw all their eggs in one basket with AJK down in P17 and has wing damage of his own. Yopop at least closing back in on Matteo, and you know what? I think he's going to get the DRS, and fair play to him. He was 1.6 seconds behind. He's gained 7 tenths, and he's back within the DRS, so he is doing everything and more to try and see what he can do for his team. Further up though, Dom now getting overtaken by Ivan Eskrig, so the hards are now the quicker tyre as Ivan Eskrig counts off his first victim. That is Dom for P8. Now he's going to chase after Volakonga and these their title rivals.
Yeah, situation means that AMR will be up to 523, but again, still not enough. But remember, Ivan Eskrig on that alternate strategy is certainly going to help, you know, the opportunity for using a medium tyre towards the end of this race. It's just whether the DRS train is too much of a power against the tyre delta that you will have in the second part of this race. Feels like it's going to be one of those Brazilian Grand Prix that is a little bit more of a slow burner, this one. I think this is when the race will start to come into its own, I think, when the hard tyre runners go in for their mediums, because of course they will be significantly faster than the hard tyre runners. Speaking of which, Matteo getting the move done on Dom. ET8 now up into the top 9 as a result, but Brando still down in P16, although albeit on the alternate strategy. So the BRC man now relegated to 10th place, and Yoapawap, who has been a man on fire at the moment for RSC, trying to show his worth, probably his own individual worth, if I'm perfectly honest with you, now rising to try and get past the BRC man as quickly as he possibly can and get the RSC into the top 10.
Indeed, as Matt now goes into the box to get off his medium tyres, change that front wing, get onto the hard set tyres to the end of this race. It kind of makes me think, actually, with Yorpop's pace and how quick he has been, why did he, I suppose, of the qualifying band compared to AGK Racing. That's no disrespect to AGK. Obviously, he did qualify pretty well, but it was a P6, so he started P11. But you know, if your Fox race pace is as good as it is, which he is showing, then maybe he should have qualified. But that was obviously their decision to make as to what they decided to do. But he's certainly, like I said, doing his damnedest, and now obviously all over the back of that McLaren going into Pico de Pato. Is he going to be close enough along the inside to get the move on the McLaren? It's nearly alongside coming down through Magulio now, but this certainly should be move done maybe into turn 1 here for Uppbeat on the McLaren. As you can see that how much Dom is struggling on those medium tyres. This is lap 11 out of 36. He's getting closer to that McLaren. Dom deploying the DRS, using that battery as much as he can, but he doesn't go to defend, and here comes Uppbeat down the inside and might even get back to the racing line before turn 1. Not quite, but in the end it's moved done and dusted, even with a bit of a lock-up. That is P9 now as Volakongan goes into the box for an early stop.
Yeah, certainly wanted to get the early pit stop and get onto the hard tyre, maybe try and get a bit of an undercut, maybe looking at the likes of Matt, of course, who his pace might be significantly better on a set of hard tyres at this point in the race. At 12 of 36, we're nearly halfway, we're going to be approaching halfway through in around about 5 laps time for what will be our final race of this season of WOR Legacy Division. As it stands, SCI are champions as it is by quite a considerable margin, but this is where Ivan Eskrig's stint has got to come to some good. He's going to be significantly faster than the medium tyres in front of him. He's just got to be able to manage this pace as quickly as he possibly can. Current situation for AMR at the moment is they'll be finishing on 525 and 76 points behind SCI, albeit now Volakongan is of course down the standing, so actually make that 64 points. But of course everyone has got to still complete their first and only pit stop of this race, as it looks like SCI, Snack, Loffer and looks like forgive me, that's Leon has dived into the pit lane very last minute.
Indeed it was. Snack, I think, tried to fake a little bit to put some of the drivers off, thinking that he wasn't going to pit, but obviously then did change his direction and yeah, kept it well within the lines and did go for the pit stop in the end. Where does the question is, where does Volakongan come out in all this? As he crosses the start-finish line going into turn 1, and obviously these guys all meet at the exit of turn 3, and we've got a safety car.
Safety car's out. We don't know why safety car's out, and I think we do know why, actually. I think it's one of the FST boys. I think it's Esco. Something has happened with Esco here, and he's slowed down to an absolute crawl out there at the moment. He's on 12 lap old medium tyres. Where is he at the moment? He's got no front wing whatsoever, so there's debris on circuit as a result of something happening on maybe going through turn number 3 through 4, but it's brought the safety car out, and as a result of that one, Justin, Polymassy and Ray Wintz's racers are looking that little bit happier.
Yeah, they decided to stay out for an extra lap. Obviously, Ray Wintz had to with Leon pitting. Volakongan couldn't take advantage, obviously, of his undercut with the safety car coming out here. And, well, there we have it. We've not had one for a little while. But here we are for the final race of the season, and we do have it. But now, what do the hard tyre runners do? This has messed up their strategy, and Ivan Eskrig has to pit. He's going to go on to the set of medium tyres to take him to the end of the race. But that's certainly going to, can you take those mediums? 22 laps. It's a big ask.
Yeah, it is a big ask indeed here, as well as what's happening with Justin. We've seen a bunch of people who have now parked up on the start-finishing line here, and I'm wondering if this is a glitch, just a visual glitch, folks. So I don't think they are actually parked in the middle of the straight here. It's just we see people now pitting across the board here. You can see people that are, look, see there, look. So I think they are actually travelling through the pit lane, and they will leave in just a second. You can see there's leaving left, so I anticipate it'll be leaving right in a second here. But we'll get full clarity on this one. I think this is just visual for the drivers here. If we want to get some clarity on this one, I'm looking at AGK, who is revving the hell out of the engine and isn't going anywhere at the moment. So is this a pit box situation, or have we got people genuinely blocked at the moment here? We'll have to get full clarity on this one, but if that is the situation, we could be in a lot of trouble. Adrian has now left the session. He's retired in the pit lane and called it quits. We're still waiting on AGK, who's still quote-unquote stuck in the pits, but stuck on the pit straight here. Something has happened. I've never seen this glitch before. But yeah, we're just trying to figure out what's going on here. We've got Lucas leaving the pit lane now. Where's AGK and all this one? Still stuck out on the front here. Yeah, we're not so sure, but that that is questionable, and that one the stewards are going to have a think about here, because yeah, I've never seen that happen before.
This game always brings out something different and something new as to what to, expect the unexpected. But yeah, I'm not too sure what they could do for this. I was thinking, obviously, he's got to change his wing, and yeah, it will add a few seconds. Adrian's rejoined back in, and he won't realise that he's in fact, his car has crashed at Destino del Lago at turn 4.
See there,
there's the Mercedes on track, and everyone's just ghosting through AGK. So yeah, this is a interesting one as to what they're going to do here. AGK, you can see he's turning the steering wheel. I've just seen him turn, unless that's just the game doing it. But I kind of wonder if this means a restart. Surely not.
No, I mean, this would be very WOR Legacy Division if we have to commit to a restart here. Other people are saying in here the thing that apparently AGK needs to do is just leave and rejoin, and his car will, come out on circuit, but he's now on a soft tyre, so his strategy's completely messed up as well. So there it is, he's just been bolted straight through back into the pit lane, and he's now leaving the pits. So yeah, very peculiar scenario. He'll now join at the back of the queue, but he was not in that position when we started, and he's definitely on the wrong tyre. So yeah, very peculiar scenario here. We'll figure out what's going on later down the line. We've got plenty of people. We've got Chris actually in the chat saying, yeah, he just needs to leave and rejoin. He didn't leave, he's just managed to connect straight back in. But yeah, very, very unusual, that one.
The other thing as well is, and I need to check this because his timing aspect has not updated. Will that have put him a lap down? I think, do you know what? It has. He's now a lap down. So he's lost our big style through no fault of his own. So what do you do at this point with a driver from a game issue is now a lap down? And I mean, don't get me wrong, RSC were under extreme circumstances to potentially hold their P3, but now they've lost a driver. He's basically out of the running.
Yeah, it's RSC season in a nutshell, this, isn't it? Very unfortunate situation. So he'll get to the back of the queue. The game won't allow him to unlap himself either. Jaden in the pit lane as well. Hopefully he won't get stuck on the pit lane, on the pit straight here. But there's the situation. And there goes AGK once again into the pit lane. Are you sure, AGK? We know what's happened with you last time. This is potentially dangerous, but we'll see. He boxes in because he doesn't want to be on soft, and I can't blame him, to be fair. Might move back over to another hard here, could AGK. As he now boxes in, and is it another hard? Yeah, it's a new set of hard tyres for the RSC man, but the problem is, as you can see, he's permanently 11.158 seconds. The camera's so drunk. What's going on with the camera as well? Everything surrounding AGK is absolutely broken. What is going on with this game here at the moment? As we see, look, the camera is stuck on AGK's position. There we go. He's now left the pit lane. Something is not quite right with AGK's part in this game here. His engines are revving through the roof as well, so there's something not quite right with AGK at the moment, and this connection into this particular lobby. But if he's permanently 11.158 seconds behind Jaden, let's just say he manages to unlap himself and get to the back of the queue normally. If he's permanently 11 seconds down, he'll always finish P19, and that to me is not fair, surely.
It isn't, but it's a case of, well, what do you do if it's only one driver has the issue and not the entire grid? Safety car is in this lap. IRT, whether they swap places there or not is another thing to hold there. But yeah, AGK now is out of this race pretty much. It doesn't matter what happens because he's not going to get that lap back at all. So he'll be P19. It'll be down to Yopwop, who has benefited from this. He's now into P7 and gives RSC a chance. But VNT, obviously, Ray wins in P3, Leon in P4. When does Justin go, though? The answer is now. So he benefited from the safety car. He leads the way from Polymassey over to P3, to P2, sorry, but Ray wins in P3. Coming under threat from Snack immediately into turn 1. He's trying to make a move round the outside of the Williams, breaks far too late, though, and has to stick it behind. But here, now what that means, Alex Loffer, who gets a massive tank slapper through turn 2 to have a look. So he's not going to. Mateo on his medium compounded tyres. Can he have a look into Destino del Lago? The answer is he does not. He stays behind him in P6. Yopop in P7, but Mateo hustling that Ferrari as we head towards Ferradura.
Yeah, doing the best that he can at the moment. Sector 1, yellow flag still waving, by the way. AGK still 11.158 seconds behind here. A big dive from Matteo on Alex Loffer. It's important for Alex Loffer. He stays in front here because they need these points desperately at the moment. Do AMR if they want to have any hope in still trying to get some kind of championship. With even Eskrig down in P16, it's pretty critical for him. And look at Joop also trying to get this one done as well on the medium tyre versus Alex Loffer's hards. He gets the move done up to P6 for him. Keeping a very firm eye as well on the situation with AGK, who's now a minute and 16 seconds behind and falling. So everything seems to have reset now for the man, the man down in there, as we've had confirmation from the administrators on this one. There will be no restart, so we're carrying on with the race as it currently is at the moment. Just an unfortunate situation for the RSC man, who's, well, let's be honest now, that pretty much confirms they're not going to be getting into the top 3, as even Eskrig promotes himself up to P15 against the GT10 man of Gaitans.
Indeed, yeah, even Eskrig, one of the drivers that lost out big style from that. Well, he pitted again, didn't he, actually, come to think of it. Was on the hards, went to the mediums, he's gone back onto a set of hard tyres. Lucas now trying to go around the outside of turn 4, off circuit there to get the move done on Gaetan, so should have to give that back. But in the end, and here comes Jaden now, sending it down the inside of the GT10 man, and through Ferradura, he gets the move done. Gaetan's trying to send it down there, so there was not a move on there for the Haasman. I think maybe that was out of retaliation a little bit, and in the end, he's fallen in behind. Further up front, we're 3 wide, nearly through Magulio, Snack, Matteo, and Joop in behind. These again are the medium runners trying to take advantage of the extra grip that they have for now. They'll be near enough dead come the end of this race, but Matteo trying to do his damnedest to see what ET8 can do with him. And tell you what, with Brando in P11, don't rule them out just yet. Yeah,
situation at the moment is Ventari will be climbing into the 400s. Oh, Matteo, that's so late on the brakes, and nudging Snack around would have been a punt to pass for the PSGL F1 champion, but he will continue onwards in P4. Matteo with those medium tyres clearly working a treat for him at the moment. The problem is that he's welcomed himself into a battle potentially with the Joop up, and keep an eye on Alex Loffer as well on those medium tyres, who will of course try and manage their pace. If he can help it, he'll want to try and get AMR into the 500s. The problem is even Eskrig down in P15 at the moment is harming their chances of at least getting on the same of hundreds amount of points as SCI at the moment, who are currently on 579 with this P4 and P9 finish as it stands, but with plenty of racing to go. There's a big dive from Matteo. We expected that one. Gets the move done on Snack. He's relegated to 5th, and SCI are on 575.
Indeed they are, but Snack's got to realise that, you know, these guys on the medium tyres, like I said, they'll be quicker now, but to give it a good, say 8-9 laps, because of the number of laps we were behind the safety car, those tyres are going to be gone, so there's no real stress at this point. Just got to stick with them at this moment in time, and just see what they can do. Out in front, Justin still leads the way from Polymassi, who just took out the slipstream just to try and keep that engine a little bit cool. But what's to say that BRC, who have not won this season, through the little bit of a beneficiary of a safety car, could win this race. Obviously, Justin trying to do his damnedest for FRT with his teammate out of this race to see what he can do to have any chance of them qualifying in P3. Still, they need to have a lot of luck go their way as well, especially with VNT falling down the field. But here comes Snack through Ferradura. He's got Joop on his inside now, though. You don't want to come into contact with him. Even on Volakongens in P9, Joop does indeed go through it up into P5. Snack now down to P6, and now look who's behind him. It's Alex Loffer.
Yeah, and Alex Loffer, of course, wants to try and get into the top 2, but of course he needs his teammate up there, and at the moment he's down in P15, so AMR's chances of staying within this title hunt are slipping with every second that is going by. Snack relegated to P6 means that SCI's total now 572. They won't care, it's still 4-time world champions for the Scottish outfit. If they continue onwards as it stands, they'll just maintain the status quo. Of course, those in front on direct medium tyres. The main battle at the moment is actually this one for P1, 2 and 3. Ray Wint's just holding station, doesn't want to battle too hard at the moment. He knows Polymassi is I don't know, he's a very quick driver, but he knows that he can be quite aggressive at times, and of course if he ends up in a situation with Justin, be happy to swallow up any positions and confirm Ventari's position in P3 in the standings.
Certainly will, and in fact I think at this moment in time he's going to be happy that he's got 2 medium tyre runners in behind him as well, between himself and then the next hard tyre runner of Snack. So good, yeah, looking good at the moment for Ray Winston, that for at least a podium finish as it currently stands. But yeah, he'll certainly want to swallow up any spoils that might happen in front of him if Polymassey and Justin come to blows. Obviously, Justin trying to go back to back for FRT after winning last time out, but Polymassey will want to try and get a victory if he can, as that is Ray Winston missing his breaking point by a good country mile there. Wanted to finish this season off, but maybe not just yet. Wants to try and get P3 as he can for his team. His teammate Leon down in P8, but looking fairly comfortable behind Alex Loford ahead of Kongan in P9. Brando's managed to get up into P11, but it's kind of now held station. And I think we're now at that point, Jota, where these mediums, even though they've only been doing 4 or 5 racing laps, are already starting to lose their pace.
Yeah, and with 14 laps to go, that could prove pretty critical for Matteo, and unfortunately for RAC's Yoopawop as well. Of course, they want to try and hold on to P3 in the standings as it stands. Ventari are going to be earning big points off of the fact of Ray Wince on the podium, and who will be keeping very, very close tabs with Polymassey and Justin. Situation at the moment, by the way, BRC, their finest result, their best result so far this season was a P4 at the Netherlands, the Dutch Grand Prix, which of course that one was a reverse championship race. So this one has been done completely on merit, and it will be a best result of P2 as it stands. So Polymassey and BRC will be telling him, just keep it calm. A race win would be great, but a podium would be absolutely fabulous at the death for BRC, of course, and their very tight battle at the moment at the bottom of the standings with the likes of FST and IRT. They've lost a lot of ground after having 4 DNFs in a row at BRC, as we have lost Ivan Eskrig, of all people, as well. So AMR really are suffering at the moment with that second driver. They've had 4 DNFs in a row, BRC. They've lost their way, currently on 139 points. What a way to bounce back at the last death here, but is it too little too late in that battle for P9 alongside FST and IRT?
I think it is, even with well, they are, you know, currently P2 and P10, so they are scoring good points. And with both FST and IRT not scoring many points, then there is a small window of opportunity to maybe get themselves off the foot of the table. That is Snack, I just saw in the background, having a little look down the inside of Pico de Pato. Sorry, not Pico de Pato, that's turn 10 of Destino de Largo on Yoopawop. And yeah, again, cemented these medium tires are starting to go as Polymassey has made a mistake through Ferradura, and Ray Wins sends it up the inside. He's up into P2. We're side by side though, coming through turn 9, heading up the hill now into Pico de Pato. But no, Ray Wins holds on as Polymassey tries to go for a cutback for the second time. But the Williams has got ahead. He's into P2.
Yeah, situation. I'm just doing the maths on it now as well, actually, just to see what's the situation in terms of the positions for P8 overall in the standings at the moment. And if my math works it out right here, IRT will finish on 198, FST will finish on 180, BRC with a P3 will finish on 172. So Polymassey really could do with winning this race here if they don't want to finish at the foot of the table, and they need to get Dom and get his skates on at the moment to try and get some more positions gained here, because actually there is a slight chance here that BRC could actually finish P9 overall in the standings, which would be a fabulous result for them. But they just need to make sure they're not making little mistakes like that one from Polymassey.
Certainly do, and like I said, you touched on before with Ivan Eskrig now, unfortunately disconnected from this. I think that pretty much cements, unfortunately, the title aspect here tonight with 13 laps still to go. We're only 2/3 of the way into this race. I mean, anything can still happen. But yeah, unfortunately, unless even Eskrig is able to get back in, that's probably not going to happen. Adrian's already left with now technically down to 18 runners and riders with AGK a lap down. Justin actually starting to pull a little bit of a gap over Ray Wins since he got into P2. That gap nearly 9/10 of a second. It's the biggest we've seen the gap since the safety car restart. So Justin did a good job out in front. Ray Wins will get the DRS, so we'll close in a little bit, but the gap's starting to open up a little more, and Snack now getting very close to the rear wing and diffuser of the Mercedes of Yoopawop in front of him. He's getting closer, got the slipstream, got the draft, got the DRS. Is he going to send it down the inside? The answer is no, he doesn't need to. And just to cement these medium tyres going off, Johan for GT10, he's up to P11, he's got the move done on Brando, so when do Yoopawop and Matteo start to drop off completely themselves?
Yeah, very unusual situation for those on the medium tyres. This is a circuit where tyre degradation is actually quite low. You don't really use that much in the way of your tyres around this particular circuit, so there is an expectation that they should go a distance, but it's not out of the realm of a possibility. We could see a puncture from any of the medium tyre runners if they decide to go the distance. Yoopawop, one of those medium tyre runners, alongside his teammate down in AGK Racing on a hard tyre, but a lap down. Gaetan That's the first person now to receive a time penalty for multiple warnings and track excursion issues. He's the man down in P17. Keep an eye out on Snack at the moment, as well as he's just trying to close down that gap on your WOP. SCI trying to solidify their 4th title in a row in WR Legacy Division. All they need to do now is just play the patient game, let the medium tyres fall off, and then he has a chance, an outside chance anyway, battling potentially for P3 with Polymassy.
Indeed he could, yes, Bob. He get ahead of both Yopop and Mateo. If he could just close in on that Mercedes a little bit more, and Brando now actually goes into the box, actually, just to cement that his medium tyres have had enough. He'll go on to another set to the end of the race, but a full pit stop behind now, and he's not going to gain that time back up again. So ET8's chances of a possible P3 is certainly pretty much extinguished as well, unless there's another safety car. AGK now picks up a time penalty of his own. Obviously, he's a lap down, unfortunately, in P19. So it seems to be that VNT are the only ones who've not really had any issues in this race with both of their drivers. I hope I don't commentate as Curse, and if I do apologise, VNT. But you're the only ones battling for that P3 who have had no real issues this race.
Situation at the moment, by the way, for IRT with 14th and 15th place respectively for them. They'll be finishing with exactly 200 points. So it's a great points result for IRT as it stands. Of course, IRT managing to get their top result of a couple of P2s, a sprint race one at Monaco, and then of course Bahrain they managed to get a P2, but they will be the only team alongside BRC to not have a race victory this season, off the back of what was an absolutely intense race victory last season, I believe, at the Britain reverse race. So that one was pretty intense. Even Ice Cream managed to finally get back in the session, but not after the damage has been done. He's 14 seconds behind here, as we've got a yellow flag waving, and I think it's for one of the FST men. Is it Matt that's gone for half a spin somewhere? He's got no front wing damage. It looks like half a spin. He's got away with it, but he's now down to P14 and now split both of the IRT boys.
Indeed, yes, and here comes the second IRT of Jaden, setting it down the inside of Ferradura, and a good move there from Jaden. So that's Esco P12, Lucas 13th, Jaden now get the final points paying position in 14th, and Matt now down and relegated to 15th to cement that. But to be honest, I've still got a constant caution and yellow flag in Sector 1, so it just shows how good this game is, that I've still constantly got that. Further up the field, is Snack getting any closer to... well, obviously Yopop's now down to P7 actually. I've completely missed that. Alex Loffer and Snack have both got ahead of him, and now the Williams of Leon getting close. Mateo actually boxes, and just again showing that these mediums have gone. What is Yopop done? He stays out around the outside from Leon. He's trying to outbrake that Mercedes, trying to get his nose in the inside of turn 2. It's wheel to side pod. We're almost sideways, but in the end I think Leon's going to have the traction through turns 2 and 3. We've both got DRS, we're both on the battery. Volkongen's in behind. He doesn't need to get involved in this. He can't afford to get any wing damage. But it is the Williams of Leon who gets into P6 for VNT. Yopop now down to P7. Volkongen just looking behind in P8. But with Mateo pitting, Dom now moves up into P9. That's a couple more points for BRC.
Yeah, situation at the moment, as it stands with Ray Wintz up in P2 and Leon up to P6, means that they're now on 418 points. AMR have now fallen below 500. They're on 499 with all the math that works out right. I think we've got the graphic here. Yeah, there it is. 581 as it stands then for SCI. They will be champions here tonight. AMR falling below 500 and Ventari climbing above 400. So they'll be at least within the same realm of second place, which begs the question, just how much pace did Ventari actually have throughout this season? Yes, there's a few missed opportunities, but they'll at least get all over the back of it and make the learnings for the next season, because they will automatically qualify as it stands.
They will. Yopop now has given up the ghost. 15 laps, he's got those mediums. It's on a fresh set of boots now, which kind of tells me why didn't they just pit earlier if they knew they were going to go off. So maybe trying to bank on a safety car, perhaps that I maybe can understand. But nonetheless, that just cements RSC, unfortunately, as Esco now goes up into P9 for faster state true. At least gets ahead of Johan, who's now down to P10. Now Dom up to P8. It's a couple more points again for him. I wonder if he gets a move done on Volkongen. Would that be enough for BRC, I wonder?
Potentially, as we just keep a very, very firm eye on the situation at the moment with Polymassy, because he's just sort of now managing his own race pace. He got overtaken by Ray Wince, of course, after making that mistake earlier on, so that's obviously led him into a false sense of security, unfortunately, with that P2. He knew that there's potentially on the cards a chance for BRC to get their first race win of the season. That's now been halved by that little mistake he's made, and hopefully he'll still keep a little bit of distance maybe on the field here, as Snack is just trying to catch up here and try and make it a race victory for SCI as they become crowning champions once again. Champions elect for SCI at the moment, 4th and 6th respectively. They've done more than enough to be crowned champions here tonight with that result.
Indeed they have, and Volokongan got the move done on there from Leon, who did not have the DRX, and Alex Loffer was outside the DRS, so Volokongan now goes over to P6 for SAI, and VNC's Leon down to P7. Doesn't change their position as it is, it's just a few points less, but still looking fairly comfortable and looking decent enough to be P3 overall, and he knows that, he should know that at least. He'll be getting told by his engineers and his team that he doesn't need to attack that Alpine in front, just stay where you are, don't get into trouble and bring this home, and yeah, we'll get us into that 3rd place finish overall. Ray Wince though, I think he'd like to go for the win if he can, to get a win for VNT, and but saying that, Justin, he's looked very good tonight as Justin, both in the sprint qualifying and in the sprint race itself, and then he's good qualifying again and a good race so far for him. Start of lap 31, it's 6 to go to round out this season.
Yeah, it's been a fabulous season of racing as well. Love to know everyone else's highlights if you are watching here tonight as well. Current situation, 73 of you watching. Thank you to everyone's support, not just this season, but over the last 7 seasons of WOR Legacy Division, as we just monitor Polymassy getting out of the horrible warm air to cool down the engine somewhat. Situation is that Justin is still going to be taking the race victory, and this will be a well-deserved victory. FRT, felt that Justin definitely had the pace, and he certainly did have the pace in the sprint, of course, but after the situation with Alex Loffer, got a 10-second penalty which saw him fall down the standings. Should that get reclaimed and get that P1 right back, as it stands so far, he's taken a double race victory at Brazil. Clearly, at the moment, a real king when it comes to race pace at this circuit.
It certainly is, and what a way to go that would be for him. It would be a great send-off for FRT, and for them to go back-to-back and get 2 race victories and a sprint as well, so winning technically the last 3 races. Kind of means, though, I think you've got to think then, where was that earlier in the season to try and get a good, attempt of being P3, to hold that P3 as they did last season, but still, lap 32 now out of 36, last 5 laps here to go. Ray Wince still tucking in behind the racing bull, but Polymassy getting ever so closer, as is Stack and Alex Loffer. Volokongan now flirting with the 1 second window, and he's now got DRS, so we could potentially have 8 cars here, maybe still having a chance of winning this race. It depends if there's any, obviously, carnage. But what would WR Legacy Division be without carnage, Jota?
Yeah, precisely that one as well. So I'm just having a look at the situation as well. Of course, DNF for Adrian means that they've only got the 1 driver, FRT, at the moment. As it stands, they'll be finishing on 392, so they'll climb above ET8 to P5 in the standings. And in fact, they'll actually climb to P4 in the standings, and RSC will be relegated to P5 as a result with this race victory because of RSC's nil point performance as it stands in 16th and 19th. So it's not just going to be a fall from grace from P3, they'll actually fall to the mid-pack will RSC as it stands, and FRT will finish in a very respectable P4. It's 1 position lower than where they finished last season, but it shows that actually there's a little bit of consistency starting to brew at the English outfit.
There certainly is as well, and obviously with the roster that they've got, which is changing but also improving, and that's what you need to do. And it's a case of where the drivers are and who is willing to move as well at the same time. Is that is Gaitam? It's getting the move done on Matt, who unfortunately his race pace has not really shown here tonight, and has just lost the pace to the GT10 driver. His tyres are a few laps older. He's going to try and go for the move once again, try and get it back into turn 4, but decides to go into nod, save that battery if he can, maybe go for an attack later on. But yeah, certainly FRT can be proud to an extent, I would say, but maybe slightly disappointed at the same time they've not been able to hold on to that P3 finish. But obviously with the talent that we've got here and that every team has, it's no easy feat to get that P3 overall finish, let alone maintain it as you did last season. So P4's not terrible, but they'll think, where can we improve?
Yeah, exactly, and I think there's a lot of learnings to be had here, to be fair, as with AGK, you can see down at the foot of the field in 19th, will not be scoring anything at the moment with that little glitch that happened as well. Very unfortunate for the man down in P19. Lap 34 of 36 then, as Justin comes across the line to start his next tour here. Ray Wintz all over the back. Looks like Polymassy has just decided to let go of some of that pace. Now might be under pressure from Snack later down the line. As it stands here in the standings, as said, 586 will be played, 499. RSC will drop to P5 in the standings, and it will be it will be Ventauri who will be P3, then FRT in P4, then RSC in P5, then ET8 in P6. So ET8's poor performance at the moment and poor strategy has actually cost them dearly. They're going to fall even lower, and it'll be one of their lowest scoring positions in WOR Legacy in around 3 or 4 seasons.
Indeed it will be, as AGK goes into the pits for go onto the soft tyres and probably try and steal fastest lap attempt. I mean, who currently has that? It's actually Brando in P17 for ET8, 15th and 17th for ET8. Yes, the safety car did not help them at all with the strategy that they were on, but they will not be expecting to be 15th and 17th, and they will actually, for being second last season, will drop to 6th overall and certainly be looking at themselves thinking, what has happened this season? Alex Loffer got quite close to Snack there coming through Junsao, but in the end wasn't quite close enough coming down the main straight, as Polymassy makes a mistake going through turn 1. He's outbroke himself, but Snack has had a big wobble through turn 2. This is Alex Loffer's chance to get close to that Alpine if he can. This is now just for pride really, but in the end he decides not to go for it. Just turns the battery mode down and to save it a bit more, but yes, two drivers making mistakes there, and Alex Loffer could not take advantage of it. But ultimate touring here, 1.5 laps to go. What does Ray Wintz do? He's got to get a little bit closer to Justin if he wants to have any chance of taking victory away from the FRT man.
P7 overall be GT10 243, IRT 206, FST 185, and BRC will finish on 176. They will have, though, a podium to their name in WR Legacy Division if Polymassy can hold on, which will be a valiant effort for the Bravo Racing Club. Snack will want to try and get onto the podium, so then SCI can at least go out of this season as a 4-time world champions on that podium. As it stands, though, he's got to try and race Polymassy, who of course has that point to prove for the Bravo Racing Club. Ivan Eskrig has now decided to pit as well. He's going to try and steal the fastest lap attempt off of AGK, but I'm not entirely sure as to why, because he's not going to run out of time, as we've got battles starting to brew here, trying to figure out where it is. It's for Ray Winton, for Justin at the moment, as they're going side by side through here on this final lap of this race. Then, folks, we are crowning a champion imminently here, but it's all going to be about who's going to taste the race victory here. Is Ventauri going to try and grab it off of the back of Future Racing Team's Justin, who has done everything he possibly can to try and convert this race victory? He'll feel very hard done by after that incident, of course, in the sprint race going through there. Looks like he's going to be caught out there. Ray Winton, Justin gets it back. Is it a big dive bomb from the Ventauri man? It certainly will be. Justin will be furious that that's the situation he's in as they continue here. AGK getting the fastest lap of this race. This is still not done, folks, as Ray Winton all over the back. And remember, Polymassy could also get in the mix as well. Alex Loffer going for the big dive on Polymassy as well. This has all exploded on the final lap of this race. They've tried to keep it as it is. Ray Wintz has taken the lead of this race. It's a horrible accident involving Polymassy. That's the podium gone. AMR have got a podium as it stands. FRT's Justin will be furious that he's missed out on potentially the race victory. He's going to try and take it all the way to the line. He's out of electrical energy as Ray Wintz comes across the start finishing line. FRT are going to go across the line as the race victors of the Brazilian Grand Prix in the end from Ray Wintz. Alex Loffer finishing in P3. Snack will finish in P5 behind Volakongan in the end to confirm the champions of SCI, 4-time world champions in WOR Legacy Division.
Well, that was a slow burner after the safety car, but what a final lap that was. And credit to Ray Wintz, he wanted the win, but he knew that he had to sort of keep it clean at the same time to ensure the VNT get that 3rd place overall. But congrats to Justin, he deserved that win, and goes back to back. And in fact, wins the last 3 races. But yeah, well done to SCI. 4-peat in a row for them. And it's a case of who can stop them. The answer is nobody could this season.
Nobody could stop them at the end of the day. They have come out on top with a heavy heavy results for the Shizou Cedar Igniters, who have just needed to carry over what has been a fabulous 4 seasons, in fact, for the Shizou Cedar Igniters. Crowned as champions 4 seasons ago as simply Team Shizou, they have battled their way up the standings to finally become a 4-time world champion, the only team to take multiple championships as they continue their legacy in WOR. Fabulous stuff indeed. Here are those final results in the end. At the top, Justin does take the top step of the podium to make it back-to-back race victories for the future racing team. Ventauri Ray Wintz will make it very happy P2 for him as well, which confirms Ventauri as the P3 team overall and automatic qualifications for them. Alex Loffer P3, Shizou, Volakongan and Snack finishing in the top 5 confirms their championship hopes. P6 overall to Leon, which will make Ventauri's life even happier. Dom finishing in P7th with Polymassy down in 12th after that incident on the final lap of this race. We're disappointed from Esco, Lucas, Johan and Mateo down in P11. A horrible race for ET8 in the end after that safety car. Matt, Yoopawop, Guy Tance, Jaden, Brando, Ivan Eskrieger, AGK rounding out those, and of course Adrian DNFing. That is it for WOR Legacy Division. I tell you what, it has been an absolutely fabulous season of WOR Legacy Division as we head back over to the calendar to review once again what has been a very interesting season with all those mixed bags, all of those different formats. Some worked, some didn't. I think the F2 cars were fantastic. I think Ban Hards was brilliant and the reverse championship races were chaotic. We could probably say less about the 4s, but that's by the by. It's all meant to be a bit of a laugh, is WOR Legacy Division, and Season 7 proved to just be as chaotic as all the others.
I don't think I can put anything more to that, Jotham. I think you've kind of summed it up rather perfectly there. I mean, it's been a fun season. It's been a chaotic one. And, 8 teams winning a race this season as well, I think stands testament to the teams here as to how much, a lot of them have improved on getting those race victories and the consistency and the amount of podiums as well to go with it. So, well done to everyone there who got a victory this season and even took part. So very well done. And we've obviously had a completely different order in terms of the finishing standings, apart from the team obviously that finished in first place. But it has been a very hectic, chaotic, but fun season, and we expect nothing else.
Expect nothing different at all when it comes to the Legacy Division. It's been an absolutely fabulous one, to say the least. That is it then. When it comes to the Legacy Division, we have 4-time world champions. The SCI and the Shizou Cedar Igniters became, champions for the first time way back when. It'll feel like an age ago, to be fair. Back in Season 4, when they were battling with Novus Racing, with ET8 and F7R, who finished P4 overall, if you remember that name. Later down the line, they ended up battling with the likes of ET8, and for the last couple of seasons, they've been in very tight competition. In Season 5, they were 28 points in front, and they were 160 points behind in front, in Season 6. But in Season 7, yes, that gap has closed down to 87 in the end against AMR. ET8 fall down the standings. They need to reset. One thing is for certain, it's been an absolute cracker of a season of WOR Legacy Division. When Season 8 happens, we don't know, but just keep an eye out over on our X at WOR League, and of course give us a follow on YouTube if you haven't already. To everyone here, to all of my co-commentators during Season 7, to yourself, of course, Adam, to Joseph, of course, my usual co-commentator, to all of the guest commentators as well throughout this season. It's been an absolute pleasure being alongside you, and hopefully we'll see you next time for Season 8. Take care. Ta-da.